Buckle up. It's the Roxy Podcast Show.
Welcome, everyone. Today, Roxy pontificates about Trump's chaotic second term. From Elon Musk's failed reforms to loyalty tests for federal jobs and a U.S. credit downgrade, America's institutions are under siege, two major conflicts drawing us in. Will impeachment draw the line?
Impeachment Season 2, The Return of Chaos. When Donald Trump stepped back into the White House this January, it wasn't so much with a plan, although he did have one. It was more about a showman's promise using the magic of the art of the deal to end the deep state, drain the swamp, and somehow save $2 trillion by smashing the system from the inside. 5 months into the second term of Trump's administration, that fantasy lies in ruins. The man chosen to help him pull it off, Elon Musk, is gone. The math doesn't add up, and the backlash has begun. The Musk experiment, government by algorithm. Elon's stunt as an American de facto efficiency czar centered around a newly minted agency, the Department of Government Efficiency. An unconstitutional office created by executive fiat and run like a startup with the Constitution on mute. In theory, DOGE would use AI to root out fraud, streamline agencies, and eliminate waste. In reality, thousands were flagged for benefit fraud, most of them wrongly. Elon's savings numbers dropped from $2 trillion to $1 trillion, then quietly disappeared. Federal jobs were slashed, but the money didn't flow back into the public infrastructure. It vanished into consulting contracts and backdoor privatization. What we got wasn't reform. It was disruption without direction. The peace that never came. Trump pledged to end the Ukraine and Russia conflict within 24 hours of taking office. But instead, Ukraine remains under siege. Russia and Ukraine remain at war, with U.S. military aid now uncertain, and Ukraine forced to consider an unfavorable ceasefire. The war in Gaza has intensified after the U.S. stopped pressuring for a ceasefire, instead backing Israel more unconditionally. And China has grown bolder in the Pacific, testing U.S. resolve in the Taiwan Strait waters. So much for peace through strength. What we're seeing is chaos through neglect. Loyalty tests for federal jobs. In a move that shocked career civil servants, Trump issued a hiring directive requiring federal job applicants to submit essays demonstrating support for the administration policies. Critics call it loyalty filter, a modern-day political litmus test that undermines the nonpartisan foundation of the U.S. civil service. Already reports have surfaced of applicants being rejected for failing to praise Trump's immigration stance or economic agenda. The directive appears to revive elements of Schedule F, the Trump-era classification that aimed to purge disloyal bureaucrats. If implemented widely, it could signal a dramatic shift from serving the public to serving the president. And that is the point. In April of 2025, Representative Shri Thanedar, a Democrat of Michigan, filed articles of impeachment against Trump, citing 7 charges ranging from abuse of power to unconstitutional delegation of authority. Some charges are debatable, but others, like the creation of DOGE and use of federal power of targeting opponents, are deeply serious and legally credible. So what are these charges and what are they potentially going to do? Well, first we have the abuse of power. Its legal strength is strong, with potentially persuasive arguments. Then we have obstruction of justice. It has moderate legal strength of going through, but it needs more evidence. The Hatch Act violations is weak. It's unlikely to gain traction. Discriminatory AI use. It's unproven, and it's a wait-and-see situation at this point. Judicial undermining, contextual, hard to isolate. Self-enrichment finance abuse is weak, is tired, and overused. Harassment of officials, vague, and not well supported. So overall, there's maybe one thing in here, and that's the abuse of power that may possibly go through, maybe the obstruction of justice. Everything else will probably just lay by the wayside. And because of this, the impeachment of the GOP-controlled House is unlikely to succeed. But this isn't about math. It's about principle. It's about calling out a presidency that governs like a brand, not a republic. The collapse of credibility. So what's left after Elon's experiment implodes? Lawsuits. Civil rights groups are now suing over the AI-driven discrimination. Blue states are challenging Trump's latest immigration and tariff moves. Career civil servants are leaving in droves. Federal agencies are gutted. Morale is at rock bottom. But the military morale apparently is on an all-time high. Continued spectacle. Trump holds rallies, threatens governors, attacks judges, promises peace in 24 hours, even as conflicts abroad simmer on. The U.S. credit rating has been downgraded by two major agencies, citing policy volatility, ballooning deficits, and a breakdown in fiscal governance. This downgrade is going to raise borrowing costs and rattle global markets, and we've seen that happen. Yet it's barely a blip on the Trump's media circus. This isn't just dysfunctional. It's a slow-motion demolition of institutional trust. Governance is not an app. Trump's 2025 strategy looks like this: privatize the process, demonize the opposition, and sell every failure as someone else's fault. The problem? The government isn't a startup, and American lives aren't beta test. You can't run a nation like a product launch, especially when the product is the rule of law. And why this matters? Impeachment may not succeed, but it draws the line. It asks, are we okay with billionaires writing federal policy in private Slack channels? With loyalty tests for public service? With a credit downgrade treated like a rounding error? If we don't push back legally, politically, morally, we risk letting this chaotic prototype become the new normal. So what do you think? Is Thanedar's impeachment effort too little too late? Or is it accountability movement that we've needed since January?
You have been listening to the Roxy Podcast Show.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow Roxy Podcast Show on Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, and Patreon. Please contact us to let us know your thoughts. Have a great day.